Hi everyone, I'm April, and you're watching the Tangled Cat Speaks. This is episode number 3, and I'm so glad if you're a returning viewer, thank you for coming back and letting me share with you the things that I love. And if you're new to this channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about today is what I'm drinking. It's nothing special, don't get crazy excited. It's water. I'm drinking water. It's one of those days where I feel that that's all I want to drink right now, and nothing special, but just a reminder, we need it. Drink it. It's good for you. I also want to talk about some of my friends. I made several friends through Twitter. It's amazing the relationships that you can create with people that you've never met. I've found this group of women that we've become really close friends. We have this group chat thing going on, and we just enjoy each other's company that way. Someday, girls, someday we're going to get together and we're going to meet each other, and we're just going to have loads and loads of fun in person. I really would like to talk about a couple of them right now, in particular, because they do some beautiful work that I think you should take a look at. The first one that I would like to talk about, her name is Jonah Peterson, and she does crochet, and she makes her projects and she sells them over on her shop on Etsy. Her Etsy shop is called Aces, Afghans, and Things. Not and, just N. Aces, Afghans, and Things. And I'll put her link to her Etsy shop below, as well as her Twitter name, at Jonah Peterson 81. She does amazing things. She can make hats and beanies and blankets. And she's made the most amazing dolls. All 5 members of Pentatonix, she made them in doll form, and they are fabulous. She does such wonderful work. She's very, very creative, and I adore her, and I think you should check her out. One of the things that I got from her off of Etsy, she had it listed as a dice bag, but I use it as a little handbag. It was bigger when I got it. It was bigger than what I expected. And I like purple. So when I got it, I was very excited because I could use it as a little handbag, just dangling from my wrist for, those times where I don't want to carry my huge purse. I went to 2 concerts this summer, and this was invaluable. I did not want to carry my big purse all through the concert and having it sitting there and wondering if I'm going to forget it or, God forbid somebody snag it. This was invaluable. I had my phone in there, my keys, my money, my tickets, everything, even the airport. Through the airport, this was amazing to just have everything right there dangling off my wrist, and I didn't have to worry about another heavy bag. So yeah, I love this. Beautiful work. Very sturdy, and this is a staple in my life, and you should go check her out. And I think that if you are interested, you might be able to get her to do some commission work for you. Check out what she does. Check out her work. It's beautiful, and maybe, she does these cute little mermaid blankets too. I know you've seen them on Ravelry, cute little mermaid tail blankets. They're beautiful. They're so cute. And yeah, go check her out. Jonah Peterson, Aces, Afghans, and Things. One of my other friends, through this same group, my other sister, as I call her, is Melissa Knapp. And again, I'll put her Twitter down below. It's it's M Knapp Melissa. And she's also on Redbubble because she does drawings. She's an artist. She is amazing with pen. She's amazing with pencil sketches, and she has just created some of the most beautiful things. I'm going to brag about my Christmas gift from her. She sent me this drawing of, this is Avi Kaplan. He's one of the members of Pentatonix that we all adore. And she drew him up in the forest, doing his thing with his guitar, making music, and just being at peace. And it's so beautiful. I love it so much. She's really good at the small details. And one of the other things is, like I said, she's on Redbubble, and I was so pleased when she uploaded this particular picture. It was, again, Avi Kaplan. We love him very much. She did this, and it's on a coffee mug, so it's kind of round and a little bit difficult to see, and there's a kind of a glare, and I'm sorry about that. But there's Avi Kaplan on my mug, so I can drink tea with him every morning. And then on his finger, she's got this absolutely adorable dragon just perching there on his fingertip. This was inspired by one of our other friends in our same group, Gabby. You might know her. She's also an author. Her author name is Cecilia Hahn, so you should check her out as well. A writer from Argentina. But she created this as a photo edit, and Melissa drew it and got it down perfectly, and then she uploaded it to Redbubble, and I was all over it. I love it. Check her out. And she does portraits, and if you really would like to have your face done is a pencil or pen drawing by Miss Melissa, check her out. Give her a message through Twitter, or I think she's opening up an Etsy shop if she doesn't have one already. I'm not sure about that, and I will, if I find a link for it, I will let you know if she's got anything loaded up there. But check her out. Get some wonderful portraits done by her. Check out her Redbubble. She's got some amazing drawings up there. Get a t-shirt, get a tote bag, get something cute, a mug, or I got my mug. I really just love supporting people who make things by hand, who make things from the heart. Even if you're not able to give something that you made yourself as a gift, getting something from someone to give as a gift that they made from their own two hands, with their own heart and their own love, and to give that is a special thing, as opposed to commercial gifts. Something made by hand, it's the most heartfelt thing that anyone can receive, even if it wasn't made by your hand. Check out your artists. There's lots of different people out there who are so creative and so wonderful, and it's always good to support them, just because, we need these kinds of things in our world. We need love and joy, and we need art and creativity, and pass that on and give someone you love something that was made with love. So check them out. Jonah Peterson, Melissa Knapp. Please take a look. Oh, and my friend Cecilia Hahn, the wonderful Argentinian author. We are just such a wonderful group of friends, and I am so happy that I met them all because of a love of a musical a cappella group. And who would have thought that some of the best friends that I've made are people that I've never met in person. So I'm so happy for them. I'm so excited to know them, and one day we're going to meet. So I'm going to stop gushing about that because part of me kind of wants to cry right now. And somebody else that I really want to shout out is my sister. Her name is Krystal Sena, and she does makeup through a company called Simple Beauty. So if you want to look for her in particular as a seller, her website is Krystal Simple Beauty, and I'll put that down below as well so you can find her. She got into selling this makeup for the main fact that she was looking for a quality makeup, and when she found out that a lot of their proceeds go to help women who have been victims of physical abuse, that really inspired her to want to be a part of that. And physical and emotional abuse is a big thing, and it's wonderful that there are companies out there willing to help these women get through those kinds of crises. So take a look at that. And she's my sister, and I love her so much. And support that. Support something good with the money that you're spending on cosmetics. Why not have it go to something that's going to actually help the world? So take a look at that, please, and thank you with all my heart. Okay, so knitting, this is why I'm here, right? This is the big thing. Actually, I'm going to start with my crochet piece. I have been working, I think I showed you my doily. I was like at row 10 last time, and I am now row 16. I've got just the edging left. This thing is taking me forever, and it grew so much. Look at that. This is the Oriental Fantasy doily pattern on Ravelry. Oh, look at that green. It's so pretty. But look at the pretty lace. I need to finish this. I was really hoping to have this done and blocked for you all so that I can show you how the stitches have opened up and you know, it looks all pretty and symmetrical. But boy, these tiny stitches take a long time, and the bigger it gets, the longer it takes to get around each row. So it's taking me some time, but I'm going to finish it today, and next time definitely it will be blocked and you can see the pretty finished object, the pretty finished doily. And again, this was made on KnitPick's Shadow tonal lace weight yarn in the color Grasshopper. I'm going to tell you. Okay, this is a silly story about me. I picked this color because of the name. I love green. But in particular, this one, I picked it from KnitPick's because of the name, Grasshopper. When my sisters and I were kids, we used to live, I grew up in Colorado, in a small town called Commerce City, just outside of Denver. And we used to walk through these fields where we lived, you know, in the spring and in the summer. And just, we were tomboys. We were always getting muddy and dirty and everything. And it used to be, you know, these fields were just so overgrown and just wild, and we used to play out there, run around, climb trees or whatnot. And I have in my mind this clear memory of walking through these fields, and if it was the right time of year, the right time of day, the minute you step into this grasshoppers all over the place. You know, you would see a fountain going this way and a fountain going that way, and this shower of grasshoppers everywhere. And I don't know, I find that a very fond memory with my sisters, just being out there in the wild. And it's a grasshopper. I know, that's silly. It was just a silly memory, and I thought I'd share that with you. But I'm going to finish this doily. I am going to finish it with my little tiny hook, my itty bitty hook. So I'm going to get that done, and I'm going to block that for you, and we'll take a look next time. One of the other things that I had been working on was my son Daniel's sock. 80 stitches is so much, and he's got an 11-inch foot from the tip of his toe to the end of his heel, 11 inches. Now, I think when I talked about this, I was talking about doing either the heel flap or a short row heel, but I changed my mind because I remembered that I had made some socks a couple years ago using, it was the Time Traveler pattern, and on Ravelry's the Time Traveler socks, and they use a Flegel heel, and it's a very different way of doing a heel that doesn't have wraps and turns, and it doesn't have the heel flap. It does have a gusset. It's just a different construction of a heel, and I found it a little more intuitive, because you just find the spot where you want the gusset to begin, and you just keep increasing to the end of the heel, and then you start doing your short rows there right at the end of the heel. So, and the sock is huge. It's so big. So I really enjoyed doing the Flegel heel, and that may actually be my new favorite way of doing heels. Like I said, I love the fit of, it's almost like it's a combination of short row heels and regular heel flap and gusset, but I don't have to pick up all of those stitches if you do in a heel flap and gusset. So I enjoy this. I enjoyed making this particular sock, and this is, I had mentioned before, I thought this was going to start spiraling, and it did, it was starting to go this way. But then when I started doing the increases for the gusset, it started going the other way, and then this is what I was expecting it to do originally when I was striping these two yarns together, the Aiden and the Forest Primeval and the Adorned base for 3 Irish Girls. I was expecting it to look more like this throughout the whole sock, but I really am enjoying this funky pooling that it did. It's just a big sock, my goodness. I was really wanting to at least have one sock done and the other started by this week, but that's a lot of knitting. Ugh. Kids with big feet. Oh, I love him. He's adorable. And I would do it again. Not anytime soon, but I'd do it again. So, one of the other projects that I really wanted to talk about, I mentioned it, I think, on my first episode, because it is January, it is a new year, is my temperature scarf. I did a pattern, I created a pattern, and it's a free pattern on my Ravelry. Again, I'm the Tangled Cat on Ravelry as well. And in my store, the April Davis Ravelry shop or Ravelry store, I have it listed there, the Temperature Old Shale Scarf. Most temperature scarves are either done in garter stitch back and forth, or it's single crochet back and forth, and those are beautiful. I just wanted something a little more organic, so it's wavy, and I haven't even finished it. I wrote the pattern and I haven't even finished the actual project yet, but this is what I've got so far. You know, the waves, and then each stripe is one day out of the year. You know, you go to your favorite weather website and you can find the weather for that day, pick a color to go with that temperature range, and just keep going. I've got five degree increments. So this has, I think, 16 different colors that I'm using in it, or will have 16 colors used, but 5 degree increments. So whatever the temperature is, I pick that color for that increment and I knit it up. And so this was January of, I started this in May 2017. So, and I never finished it because I just got so excited with a whole bunch of other things. Like I said, start-itis all the time. I'm always starting new things. But I'm still working on my 2017 temperature scarf. So this was about to here was January, and this was February of 2017, and you can see the colors are shifting into something different. This here was like one of the coldest. This was the absolute coldest day of January 2017. This was when getting down there. And then you see the colors are starting to shift into the lighter blues and then some greens. And up here was the beginning of March 2017. So I'm getting there. I'm getting caught up. I'm not quite a year behind on this project. But it's going to be big. It's a big project because most temperature shawls have 1 or 2 rows. I mean scarves, I keep saying shawls. Most temperature scarves have 1 or 2 rows for their each day represented. And this particular pattern, because it's a 4-row pattern for each wave, is going to be a little bit longer because each day is 4 rows. So I made it a little bit wider. I think this is going to measure out to be about 11 or 10 or 11 inches wide, and then it's going to be crazy long. I mean, have you seen those Doctor Who scarves? This is going to be long like that. I mean, you're going to wrap this thing like 80 times around your head, around your neck. Okay, maybe not 80, but it's going to be taller than me. It's probably going to be like 3 me's. I'm only 5'3". But I mean, it's fun. It looks more organic. I mean, the waves, it's natural. It's not so blocky the way some of the other temperature scarves are. And like I said, the other temperature scarves were beautiful, and it created this whole wave of people making temperature scarves, and the colors that people use, the combinations, and it's just fun. So this was just my take on it. And again, it's a free pattern on my Ravelry store. So come check that out. It's a new year. Get your colors going. Get your waves on, you know. And then I think you probably have noticed what I'm wearing, and it keeps sliding off my head because I move my head a lot when I talk. Oh, some of the weird things. This is another of my designs, and I mentioned in my last video that I created 5 knitting patterns. They're paid for patterns, but I created 5 of them based on Avriel and the Sequoias group, their music. The album, the EP is called Sage and Stone. This was one of the songs. It was called Sweet Adeline, and it's a very upbeat, happy, playful kind of song, and it was fun, and I just wanted to make a song, or not a song. I'm not a songwriter. I'm a knitter. Get that straight. I wanted to create a hat. I figured this girl, Sweet Adeline, who they're singing about, is gonna wear something flirty and fun, and it was a hat. That's what I wanted. That's what I envisioned Sweet Adeline wearing. So I came up with a hat, and I'm gonna go ahead and take it off so I can show you a little bit closer what I did. Excuse my hat hair. It's all right. It's all right. So this is what the beanie looks like. It's got just a swirl top for the decreases. And then up close you can see the lace. And I chose this really pretty corally peach because it just seemed kind of flirty. It wasn't like a little girl pink, and it wasn't, I think it would look really good in black. I think it would look good in gray or green. But when I designed it, when I first envisioned what this hat was going to look like, I envisioned this pretty soft, feminine, corally color. And this was Knit Picks Stroll Fingering, and this was the color Dogwood Heather. So, and it's just lovely. And again, this is Sweet Adeline, available on my Ravelry store. It's only $3. Very fun, very flirty, just cute, cute, cute. Inspired again by Avriel and the Sequoias from their EP Sage and Stone. This was the song Adeline, Sweet Adeline, forgive me. So there's that, and I'm not going to try to put this back on camera. So I wanted to just tell you a little bit more about who I am. I have been knitting since 2005, and I've been crocheting since 1995. I am a career 911 operator and police dispatcher. I've been doing this since 1994, and I met a wonderful woman by the name of Denise when I first started, and she was crocheting all the time. That was her thing, and she got me interested in it, and she started trying to show me, and it was because of her that I started doing any of this. Nobody in my family knits or crochets, but it was Miss Denise who showed me and got me just addicted. And I've always been in love with color. Before I did crocheting, I did cross stitch, and I was addicted to going to the craft stores and looking at all those little drawers of the DMC floss and threads for cross stitching. I would just buy colors. I wasn't even working on a project, but I just would have colors. It was an obsession for a really long time. But I think that was what drew me in was the colors. Just so many different subtle shades of the same color, all these different hues. And so when I found crochet, I'm like, oh my God, I could play with colors some more. And so Miss Denise showed me around 1995, and I went from there. I started crocheting and, blankets, and mostly blankets is what I did. I just made blankets for everyone. I had wanted to learn how to knit, and I can't remember why I found knitting. But I really wanted to, but everything that I had found, I didn't have internet at home, and I didn't have, that was before smartphones and you could just pull everything up on your phone. I didn't have access to videos. I didn't even know they existed. So everything was books, and all of the books told me I needed to hold yarn in my right hand, but my left hand is what I had learned to crochet with, and I'm left-handed. So it just felt more natural to have the yarn here. And I do crochet a little bit different because most people move the hook, where I kind of hold my hook just a little bit still and I move the yarn. And it's because my control is in my left hand. But my friend Denise is right-handed, and that's how she crocheted, and she was teaching me, so that's how I picked up holding the yarn in my left and the crochet hook in my right. But my style is very different from hers because I'm left-handed. I didn't want to have to try to learn how to do things backwards, how to read patterns backwards. And when I was trying to knit, that was what I found, is that either you learn with holding the yarn in your right hand and rewrite the pattern so that it was mirrored and done backward, so for left-handed people. And I thought that was unacceptable. I just did not want to do all of that extra work of having to convert this pattern, especially because at the time I wanted to do sweaters, and there's all of the shaping that's involved with making a sweater, and it's all about left-handed side, right-handed side of the piece. So there I'm having to switch it, and it was just so intimidating and confusing and daunting. I didn't do it. So for 3 years, I kept coming back to it and then giving up, and coming back to it and giving up. Then I did get internet at home. Finally, I stepped into the digital age, or whatever you want to call that. It was, I stepped out of my cave and came into the modern world. And I started finding these videos. I found the place that I actually really, really learned how to knit, and I still refer people to that website, is knittinghelp.com. She had videos, and that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to find videos so I can figure out how to do stuff with my right hand. But she had the videos of all these, all the basic techniques, and I found out that with the right hand, it's English knitting. But she also had videos for continental, and I'm like, what is this continental? And I clicked on that video, and she was doing everything holding the yarn in her left hand. And a light bulb went off in my head, and I was just so excited that I didn't have to learn how to convert patterns. All I had to do was train my hands to do things continental style. I'm still reading the same patterns. I'm still doing the same stitches. And I'm already comfortable with holding my yarn in this hand because of already having crochet experience. So I was ecstatic. That's how I kind of got started in doing all of this. And then of course I found Ravelry, and Ravelry just got me into so much trouble with, it's a good thing that Ravelry exists because I can hoard patterns. I don't have to print them out right away, but I can basically hoard all these patterns. It's kind of like Pinterest. You can hoard without actually cluttering up your home. Designing didn't come into it until 2017. I started having a few ideas pop into my head of what I wanted, because what I wanted I couldn't find on Ravelry. So I started writing things down and playing, and it was hard. It was something that I never thought I would do, but it was hard. It wasn't until I got the inspiration for the Sage and Stone EP series of patterns that I did that really inspired me. There was just something, I think that's what I needed. I needed something to really drive what I wanted to do. So it was there. I knew what I wanted. I had this idea in my head, and it just became easier because there was a muse, so to speak. So it just kind of came from there. But I just only now started designing, and I'm very excited by it. And now it just opened up the floodgates, and I have a lot of ideas. I mean, it's fun. It's relaxing. It's what I love. It's my bliss. It's my heaven. and I can share this with my family members. I can give them gifts that I've created. I can share my love of color. I can find friends who love the same things that I do, you know. It's just an amazing thing, this knitting community, this yarn community, I should more like say. This community is just wonderful. I love creativity, and this is my niche. One of the other places that I found helpful learning to knit, and this is more recently when I found VeryPink Knits on YouTube. Her videos were a little different in that she's very up close with her videos, or she does it very slow. She does it on bigger gauge needles so that you can really see what she's doing, and she's very thorough, and she's just funny, and she's cute. I just love watching her. So that was my first YouTube addiction, was VeryPink Knits with Stacy is her name. I love her, and that's what I would watch her video. I binge watched everything that she had, and I still go back and I watch a few things if there's a technique that I haven't really mastered yet, and I'll go back and VeryPink has that for me. That's where I'm headed. So that's where I go. And then I also found another, because it gives you recommendations, YouTube does. I found in one of my recommendations another channel called ChemNits, and she does she does yarn dyeing. She started out using things like Kool-Aid and food coloring, and I was fascinated, and I dyed a few skeins of yarn several years ago. A friend of mine came over and we just dyed some things in Kool-Aid. And it was because I was inspired by her. And that's something I really would like to get back to in the future, is dyeing some more yarn with the food coloring and the Kool-Aid. It was just so fun. And I'll have to show you some of those pieces in the future, the yarn that I dyed and what I ended up knitting with it. But it's so fun. So I started watching ChemKnits on YouTube. And those were really my big obsessions until I found Pentatonix, and then that was my biggest obsession on YouTube. And little by little, I've been finding some of these other things. And I also, one of the things involving yarn is also spinning yarn. I find it very fascinating. It's not something that I have yet decided that I want to jump into to try myself, but watching and learning is just fascinating to me. So I watch, her name is Rachel Smith, and she's called Walford Pearls. I watch her. She's up in Canada, and I just love watching her videos, and I did another binge watch with her, and I'm all caught up, and I keep waiting for something new to come out. But she talks about the yarns that she's spun and what she's knit with them, and she goes into very technical terminology and everything. And it just makes me want to know more. And maybe someday, sometimes when I'm watching, I'm like, I'm going to go get myself a drop spindle, and I'm going to go get myself some fiber, and I'm going to knit, or not knit, I'm going to spin, and then I'm going to knit, and it's just amazing what she does she tells you about colors. She tells you about the different breeds of wool, and their properties, and what they're good for as far as creating your own yarn. And it's just amazing. I love watching her. She's very, very knowledgeable, and she's very personable. I like watching her very much. And there are other things not yarn related that I watch on YouTube, of course. I'm going to geek out again. I love Pentatonix, and so one of the things that I really enjoy watching are reaction videos to Pentatonix videos. That's kind of funny. Like, I'm watching a video of somebody else watching a video of a video that I love. So, but I love Pentatonix so much, and it's so exciting to me to watch somebody else listen to their music for the first time and just see that awe come into their face, and it's so fun. And one of my favorite reaction videos reaction channels is by is a channel called Brother, and they're these two brothers they're just funny, and they're great. I love watching them. They have a little bit of shenanigans going on in there too from time to time, but they really appreciate music, and they could really hear the specific changes and chords, and they're just really up on the musicality end of it, as well as just reacting to the overall end product of the song. And I just love watching them because they're so funny. So that's one of the other things that I watch. And then I mentioned that I really love color, and there's this wonderful woman that I watch. She paints mandalas on rocks. Well, she started off on rocks, and sometimes she does it now on canvas, but she does it with dot painting. I don't know if that's what it's called, but they're dot mandalas, and she just makes the most beautiful things. Her name is Kristin Uhrig, Uhrig is how you spell her last name. But if you look up dot mandalas, you'll see Kristin Urich come up. And I love watching that. It's just so relaxing. At the end of the day, I'm about to go to bed, and I'll watch a couple of her videos, and just the way that she places these dots and the colors on these mandalas is just so pretty and so relaxing. Yeah, that's one of the things that I enjoy. There are it is kind of yarn related. There's some podcasts, I guess, or video vlogs, or however you want to call them, on YouTube, and they talk about, they kind of do what I do. They talk about their yarn and their yarn stash and their projects and all of that, and designers and dyers that they love. And I watch them because they're kind of what got me into wanting to do this. I wanted to play, they just are having so much fun, and I wanted to play too. So my first one that I really started watching was Hue Loco. And then I got into Hey Sister and Grocery Girls, and all because they kind of referenced each other. So I'm like, oh, I gotta go see what she's talking about. And I went over there, and then they reference another one, and I just get super excited. So I'm just kind of watching all of these different YouTube channels, all about basically showing off what they love, and it's awesome. I love it. So I watch them a lot. And there's another girl. It's called WillaPic, I think is how she pronounces it. I want to say she's like in Amsterdam or something like that. But it's WillaPic, and I found her because I was watching the ChemKnits tutorials here on YouTube for yarn dyeing, and she did something where she dyed yarn with avocado. And I saw that come up, and I was like, what do you mean you dyed yarn with avocado? And I'm like, okay, well, this sounds interesting. I'm going to go take a peek. And so I was watching it, and in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, okay, we're going to get this awesome shade of green. Little did I know, she ended up with this amazing blush and pink, almost like a rosé wine, just a beautiful pinky color, mauvey color, out of avocado peels and pits. And it was, what? How do you get pink out of that? It was fascinating to see how natural dyes worked in that particular situation. So I started watching her, and she's a very soft-spoken girl, very mild-mannered, and just very sweet, and I really, really enjoy watching her. Another channel that I just started, I think I've only watched 2 episodes so far, is MeanGirlsKnit. I love them so much because they say what I'm feeling, and it's great. It's awesome. I love them. Funny. They're just blunt, and I love it. I love it. Say what you feel. So I watch them. And then I also watch, I'm not a cook. I'm not a baker, but I watch how to cook that. And she's from Australia, and she does baking, and she just does the most amazing cakes, pastries, and it's so fun to watch. And she did these videos also. She is amazingly creative, and she did these videos where she went out into like a hardware store or whatever and got all of this stuff to create this tiny little kitchen. And when I say tiny, I'm thinking like dollhouse tiny. I mean, she's got dollhouse furniture set up in there, and she was able to get herself a working wood stove kind of oven, working faucet, and she actually baked cookies, and I think she did a cake, a little mini cake. I can't remember, but I think there's 3 videos of where she cooked things in miniature she actually baked them. She mixed them up in these tiny little, I mean, the whisk was about that big. I mean, she made all these tiny little things, and I was just like, wow, the creativity, the effort, and the joy that went into that. It was just, I am fascinated with her. So how to cook that. That's a little bit about me. I did mention that I am a 911 operator, police dispatcher. I've been doing that for a little over 23 years now. I've been doing it for a very long time, and honestly, it was not a job that I would have chosen. I kind of at the time was a single mom, and my uncle had said, you need to get in a job that is with the city or the county. You're going to have some stability there. Being a single mom, you need that to raise your kid, and it was good advice. And I literally went in and I just looked for jobs that had what I was qualified for. And I applied with something called telecommunicator. I had no clue what that meant. I just knew that I was qualified for it, and I think in my mind, I was thinking it was something like customer service or something, like at the water department or something. I didn't know. I honestly had no clue. It wasn't until I had gone in for my interview, and they did this mass interviewing, and there was like 20 of us. And they would send you in one by one, and mine happened to be towards the end of the day. So I would see these people go into their interview just absolutely nervous, and then come out and they still looked nervous. I was just so scared. And okay, in general, in real life, I am an introvert. I'm very much to myself. I keep to myself a lot, and especially when I was younger. And I was 22 at the time, 23, and I went into this interview thinking it was going to be normal. I'm going to sit across from this person and we're just going to talk a little bit, and I was already nervous about just that one-on-one. I walk into this room and there were 7 people. Some of them were in police uniform, and I was like, oh, what did I just get myself into? And I had to sit in the middle of this room with this panel of people looking at me. And it kind of clicked at that moment what I had applied for. I was like, oh, police department. Oh, and all of the things started going through my head. I'm going to talk on the phone. I'm going to be talking on the radio. And not only was it not a one-on-one interview, there was 7, but I started realizing I was going to be talking a lot more than I had expected on the radio with a lot of different ears out there listening to me. And the fear got me. But at that point, I had already given my notice at my previous job. So I was kind of stuck. I needed this job. I needed to raise my child. And that happened. And I went into it, and it turned out that it was something that I enjoyed. It was something that I was good at. I stayed, and here I am 23 and a half years later, and I'm still doing it, and I still enjoy what I do. And things have changed so much, the technology and everything. It's just crazy how different it is in 2018 as opposed to 1994. but it's still I'm glad that I made the choice to stick with it, even though it was scary and it was intimidating at first and definitely against my nature. I don't talk on the phone in my personal life. I don't like doing it. I don't feel comfortable. I'd rather text. And I just recently got into Snapchat, so I've been doing that, and I've been annoying the heck out of my kids with my Bitmojis. But talking on the phone, not my favorite thing. And it's baffling to people that that's what I do for a living. That's what I made my career of doing, is talking on the phone, and I really do not care for it, but I do it and I help people, and it's a fulfilling career. It really is. It's one of those, you're not going to get a whole lot of things. People don't remember the dispatchers. People don't remember the person who answered the phone. They remember the officer who showed up, or they remember the paramedic or the firefighter who helped them. They don't always remember the person who picked up that phone. And that's me. I'm that voice, that disconnected voice that is there giving help and not really getting the accolades that the people out in the field do, you know, the police officers and the paramedics and the firefighters. And they deserve it. They deserve all the accolades. They're the ones out in that, dealing with that kind of danger. And a lot of times it's danger. A lot of times it's sad. You know, they're right there up close to it. But, you know, I get my fair share of it. I hear a lot of it over the phone, and I don't get the resolution a lot of times that they do, because, you know, they see the end of it. They see what happens. They're following through later on. But the dispatcher, we pick up the phone, we send somebody out, and we move on to the next thing, and it's very disjointed. And we've got these roller coaster of emotions. I think that was the biggest thing for me, was the emotions. I had to learn at a very early stage in my career that I needed to compartmentalize. So it's not an easy job, and I wish that we had more recognition for what we do, and it's getting there. It really is. But, you know, I think still in general people think of us as glorified secretaries. The people don't realize what we do and how emotionally taxing it can be. So, you know, that all leads back to my knitting. I need to decompress. I need to let all of that out. I can't come home and talk to my family and say, you know, when they say, how was your day at work? I can't tell them. I can't say, well, this gruesome thing happened or that horrendous thing happened. I need to hold it in. I need to keep it inside. And, you know, my place of employment does provide counseling if we need it, you know, because sometimes it does get overwhelming. Sometimes it's just a lot, and it's nice to know that they're caring enough about us to say, hey, your health matters. You know, all of that matters. We've got somebody you can go see for free. But I can go home and talk to my family about that. I can't let them know everything that happened. So I keep it in. And when I knit, it's one of those where I can meditate, I can breathe, I can just step out of things for a little while and be happy while I'm at home. You know, enjoy life, even though sometimes I see a very scary side of life. And don't get me wrong, it's not all negative. I mean, listening to a baby cry when they've just been born, hearing that you helped someone, knowing that you've helped someone, knowing that you did what you could do for other people, is just a really wonderful thing. In the end, we are helping people. We are saving lives. We are just as crucial as the police officer or the firefighter or the paramedic. We are just as crucial. I'm sorry it got a little bit serious here at the end. I know this is supposed to be about knitting, but that's really why I knit. It's because life can be serious, and I need to get out of some of that and just be happy and knitting is my bliss. Playing with color and making beautiful things and letting my creativity flow is really all because I do have some seriousness in my life, and like everybody does, we have our serious sides, and we all need an outlet, and this is mine, and I'm happy to share it with you. So I'm gonna close on that, and I'm gonna talk to you next time. Thank you for being here, and I will talk to you later. Love you.